Hi guys, what's up? It's Will back once again for another fight card prediction. We're here for UFC on ESPN as Chito Vera takes on Cory Sandhagen in our main event of this card. And I'm sorry it's out a little bit later this week. I had planned to get out a little bit earlier, but things had kind of been going on. I've been looking after the kids and so on, and it's just been a little bit harder to get it out. So kids are in bed, everything's quieting down, so I'm able to get them out here. So for this card, I've kind of looked into it a little bit, not as much. I've kind of not felt the kind of the especially like last week. I really liked looking into that card, and this one here, it's not really jumping out at me. I'm looking forward to taking the week off and getting back at it for UFC 287. Coming off a slightly profitable weekend last week, a little bit gutted about how I missed out. I didn't bet Veronica Macedo over Veronica Hardis. That kind of annoyed me a little bit, but it is what it is. Sometimes you miss out on those ones that you talk about and you feel a little bit convicted about, but it is what it is. Still get out there with a profit and looking to kind of keep my good run going this year after a kind of slow start. So, yeah, let's get into this here. I've got no bets for this card, I should say, straight off the bat. There is a few things I am looking at, but starting off at the bottom here, Tamires Vidal against Hayley Cowan. This was a fairly short notice matchup because Hayley Cowan was supposed to fight a few weeks back, and she pulled out I think it was after the weigh-ins because she was ill. So, not looked into this a hell of a lot. I like Cowan though. I like her athleticism. I like her that she might be able to kind of hold this Vidal down. Now, Cowan is a girl that I kind of knew a bit about before she went to Dana White Contender Series. Super athletic. She's got like a gymnastic kind of background, so she is a fairly athletic girl, and she's coming in here with a 7-1 record. 7-1 record here with wins over this one here was actually fairly contentious. I didn't really give her that fight, but I think the way she wins this fight is coming in here and looking for takedowns and being kind of heavy and on top. I think she can do that, but like I say, this is a fight I've really not. The ladies' fights in this card is that I think there's three of them. There's one that I looked into a lot more than the other ones there. I mean, she's got a win over Romana Pasquale, so she might be super dangerous super early. But like I say, this is a fight I don't really want to bet. I don't really want to kind of look into all that much either. But for me, I'll take Hayley Cowan. I think she was a big underdog when the odds opened. And I think if you got those odds, then you'd be kind of champing at the bit. I know there's some people that have put like four figures on Hayley Cowan. I don't think I could do that personally, but as a prediction, I'll pick her there. This is a good fight. This is one of the fights in the card I'm looking forward to. We've got Vinicius Salvador against Victor Altamirano. And before really looking at this one, I actually kind of leaned on the Salvador side because I watched them recently with the Shannon Ross fight. 14-4 record. Guy stops a lot of guys. He's got some big power. It's not like he's got continuous volume, but I don't think he's got one punch power. I think he's one of those guys that kind of chips away at you a little bit. Big for the division, big reach, 70.5. I think it's the exact same on the Altamirano side. And I was coming at this one, and I was fairly certain that I was going to definitely be on the Salvador side. And then I watched Altamirano, and I was like, I really like this guy. I think over the longevity of the fight, I think that he can come out here and win this fight here. Seeing that I've picked him two in a row and that's quite nice actually, because I thought I'd lost a couple in there, but he's coming off wins over Daniel De Silva, who's also fighting this card, who's a guy that I think is super dangerous, but ultimately he will fade, he will death gas, and you can get him. But Altamirano got him out of there, ground and pound, out round one. It's usually once it goes into the second, the third, that if it even gets there, De Silva usually death gasses. And before that, a win over Carlos Candelario as well. I like him to come in here and just avoid getting caught. If he avoids getting caught, I think he has more volume. I think he chips away at Salvador a little bit. So for me, I'm on the Altamirano side. I'm going to have to jump on him very soon because his line has been shortening because I've kind of taken a back seat a little bit to the card this week, that I've kind of missed out on some of the better lines. There was a couple of lines I was looking at. But for me, I'll take Victor Altamirano. He's still plus money right now, so he's going to be my pick, and good possibility could be a bet as well. Manuel Torres against Trey Ogden. interesting fight. This guy broke a lot of hearts last time out by beating Daniel Zellhuber. I think, to me, when I watched that fight back, this was more on the Zellhuber side. I just don't think he showed up in that fight whatsoever. And Trey Ogden got one of the. I think when you look back in a couple of years' time, Trey Ogden will be like, that was maybe the best win I will ever have over a guy, because I think Zellhuber's got a lot of potential. I really like him. I'm still super high on him. I'm not off him whatsoever. And then you've got Manuel Torres, El Loco. This guy's got massive power. But I do kind of worry a little bit later on in fights if it gets there. Because I think Trey Ogden, that's what he will look to do. I don't think he will look to kind of fight at distance with this guy. I think that he will look to get in there, get takedowns if possible. Don't be at it on the feet, because I think how he wins this fight is on the ground and being dominant and winning minutes down there, being active on the ground. Like I say, I don't think that's ever a good look to have in your record. But for me, I like the Torres side. He's minus 170. He was minus 155. But like I said, I never really looked into anything. I am a little bit worried if this kind of goes into late 2, into 3. I think that the fight could become then a close decision. But for me, the guys are pretty much a banger that they can get you out of there early. So I'm going to take Manuel Torres to win that one there. CJ Vergara against Daniel De Silva. Kind of surprised that Daniel's really sticking around in the UFC. Dangerous, super dangerous guy, but he's got no gas tank whatsoever. And you're getting a lot of that with some of the Brazilians that are coming out recently, that with a death gas. And the one that we've seen last week, Gabriel Santos, consider how short notice that was. That guy's going to be very good. I thought he was very unlucky. I thought Lerone Murphy should have lost that fight, but that's just my opinion. I was very close a couple of days ago to betting the under 2.5, but it was with a book that I couldn't get any action down on. The under 1.5 is probably still viable. It was like minus 115, minus 120. So that's kind of the spot I would really go on there. Like I say, he's lost 3 in the bounce. Jeff Molina, Francisco Figueiredo, Victor Altamirano, like I previously mentioned. And then you look at CJ Vergara, who I think is a very tough guy with a lot of pressure. Comes forward, can go hard for the 15 minutes. So he's got that in his back pocket. He has a little bit of power. Vergara's aside for me. If he was a little bit lower, I'd think about parlaying him. He still might be a parlay piece, honestly. I do actually like him in this matchup, as long as he doesn't get caught with something heavy. I think he wins a lot of this fight, wherever the fight goes, honestly. But he has lost 2 of his last 3. Lost to Odi Osborne. Lost to Tyrus. No shame in that, because I think Tyrus is one of the dark horses of that division, with a win over Clayton Rodriguez, which I think he was a little bit fortunate to get personally. But CJ Vergara is going to be the pick there. Moving on, we have Trevin Giles against Preston Parsons. I like Trevin Giles in this one, and that was a surprise, because I've always been a guy that I don't even know what my record is of picking his fights. I'm guessing it's probably not great, 3-6. Yeah. But I don't like what I've seen really from him since he's dropped down to 170, but there's a lot of things to really like in him. I think he's got a beautiful jab. He can mix it up well when he wants to. His footwork can be good when he wants to, but sometimes he just doesn't show up. I mean, and he lost to Dricus. He's got a win over Roman Dolidze. That it baffles my mind. And I think he's beat Ryan Spann, Brendan Allen. So he's beat some legit middleweights, made the move down after getting knocked out by Dricus. That can happen because he's got big power. Then he lost to Michael Morales, who I think is a really good up-and-coming young fighter in that division, and then rebounded with a win over Lewis Kosey. That was not a memorable fight whatsoever. It wasn't a good fight. Preston Parsons, big for the division. Pressure, like you say, that's his nickname. Very much so like that. But like I say, I don't think being big for the division is really going to make much difference here with Trevin Giles. Now, he will come in and look for takedowns, and that's something that I think that could work to his advantage in some spots. I don't think he'll keep Giles there for long parts, but I actually like Trevin Giles in this one, and that's a little bit of a surprise to me. I thought I'd maybe lean on the Parsons side, but I'm very kind of close to betting Trevin Giles here, because I think he can, if he avoids some spots, then I think he could come out here and win a very competitive decision, but I see him winning 2 rounds in this fight in some spots. So he's like -110 over here in the UK. If I could get that plus number, like I'm fine with -110, but if I get that plus number, I'll feel better about myself with it. Not super confident, because I never really am with Trevin Giles, but I just think for some reason this is a little bit of a better matchup for him, and I've got him got him for the win there. So Trevin Giles for me. Stephen Peterson against Lucas Alexander. Yeah, I think I'm going to take the dog here in Lucas Alexander. I like what I see. I wish he would just throw a little bit more. Stephen Peterson is a guy that is just what is he like for picks and 3 and 4? Yeah, he's a guy that I don't get a good read on in some spots. Coming off L to Juliana Rosa, very close fight, wins over Chase Hooper, Martin Bravo. Don't like those wins, really, if I'm being honest with you. I think they're pretty low caliber wins when you look at the UFC, if I'm being honest with you. But he's a guy that never says die. Never says die. He's right there. He's in your face. He looks to throw down. You can land some heavy shots, and he's not going to go anywhere. And he's right there to the better end. So you have to really put this guy down. I like Lucas Alexander, but I would just like him a little bit more if he came out here, threw more. He just doesn't throw more. I think he's striking, his boxing's really good. Can change stances in some spots. I've seen him get some takedowns in some spots. But like I say, he's coming off an L to Joanderson Brito. Nothing wrong with that there. Because I think Joanderson is a very, very dangerous fighter. Beat Jacob Kilburn, and that's not a great win. And like I say, these are all just regional fights. And like I say, it's a dog play this week. I think that he's very live. We're against a Texas native here in Stephen Peterson. So every shot that he'll be landing, the crowd will be on his side. Fortis MMAs, it will be a big thing. Then there'll be a lot of fans probably making their way from, I think it's just outside Dallas to San Antonio for that. I'm going to pick Lucas Alexander. Not super confident. I don't feel really confident enough to really lay down money on him. But as a pick, I'll pick Lucas Alexander for that one there. Daniel Pineda against Tucker Lutz. I was surprised when I seen Daniel Pineda was still in the UFC. I thought he popped for something and was out. I mean, he's 37 years old, coming off that draw with File, where he came out there, landed some big shots initially, but finished it with eye poke, which is not good. Cub Swanson, like I say, this is his first fight in nearly a couple of years. Herbert Burns is his only win in the UFC. And had some draws there, some competitive draws with Jeremy Kennedy, Kaspalayev. But he might have been on some substances back then as well. He will come out hard in the first round. I just don't think it's going to last all too long. Another Texas native here. And you've got Tucker Lutz coming in here for his third stanza in the UFC. After coming from Dana White's Contender Series, 1-1 with it coming in L against Pat Sabatini. I just like him to do a little bit more in this fight. I think he might come through some hairy moments in the first round of the fight. But I like him. I think the bet line's at -275. I don't like that so much. But I think Tucker Lutz can come out here and get himself back in the win column. Not, like I say, as a parlay piece, I wouldn't be super confident in putting him there. I'm a guy that always looks, first of all, at putting a parlay together. And honestly, I'm kind of not liking all that much for parlays this week. I think I'm only going to have a couple of plays on this card. It's nothing that's really jumping out at me as being, I really like that. Like last week, I really like Jennifer Maya. I really like Christian Leroy Duncan. There's nothing really that jumps out that like I really want to, I feel confident laying down my money on, and this is certainly a fight not like that. So I'll take Tucker Lutz to win, probably stoppage in the third round there. Chidi Njokuani against Albert Duraev. This is a tough one for me. I've liked everything I've seen from Chidi in the UFC personally. Great win over Andrew Barry. We've seen that he's a very tough guy. You have to really put him out to get him out. Did that there. Dusko Todorovic, another tough guy, but you can get him if you land the right shots, and Chidi did that. And then this one here, Gregory Rodriguez, I thought initially was looking great. I think he cut him up pretty badly, if I'm thinking of the right fight there, and then he got ground and pounded out. So where you look at Duraev, he's going to look to get his hands on Chidi here. He's not going to stand with this guy because this guy's just levels above. He's coming in here. I remember what's the fight, the Kopylov one. I think I bet him in that one and was sweating bullets. I think he got taken down by Kopylov at one stage, was getting hit with some big shots, was death gassing a little bit. And then he came in there against Joaquin Buckley and lost that one there. This is all about whether he can survive the early kind of attack from Chidi Njokuani. If he can, then I think he can win out rounds 2 and 3. I think he can get takedowns. I think he can get top time. I think he can get some ground and pound. But there could be some squally spots where initiating a takedown, he eats some knees, which could compromise him. Put him against the cage, try and grind him out a little bit. Not super confident, honestly. But I'm going to take a shot in Duraev here. But would it surprise me if Chidi banged him out? Banged him out? No, it wouldn't at all. But like I said, I don't really want my money anywhere kind of near this fight here. But I'll take Albert Duraev to win that. But like I say, not super confident at all. Alex Perez against Manal Kape. I am a massive fan of Manal Kape. I thought when he was in Resident, I thought that he could be a really good contender in the UFC flyweight division. And I think he's turned out to kind of be that personally. I know he's coming off a couple of L's there. I take nothing away from I think that's two not bad L's whatsoever, because they're guys that I hold in high regard in Pantoja, and especially in Nicolau. I think he's got the chance to be the belt holder one day personally. And both guys actually I think could be. And then he's coming off 3 wins, knockout Woody Osborne, flying knee, beautiful finish of Zalgas there, and a really good 15-minute fight where he broke down David Dvorak, a very, very dangerous guy from the Czech Republic there. And the curious case of kind of Alex Perez, it feels like you never see this guy for the longest time. I think he's a very talented guy, good wrestler, got some power in his hands, comes after you if he gets you hurt, but we just don't see enough of him. He kind of pulls out of fights more than you see him fight. Ales to Pantoja and Figueiredo, they're not bad Ales because they're guys that are in the top 3 of that division, and he kind of beats everyone that he really should. That's a great win for Miga. Was always a tough match with people. Espinoza and Mark De La Rosa, the guys aren't no longer in the UFC, but I'm a big admirer of Manal Kape. I think that, like I say, I think he has got an opportunity to fight for the belt. If he can come out here and stop Alex Perez, I think that he could be in line for a title shot very, very soon later in the year. I actually think I'm seeing a lot of love actually for Alex Perez, and the betting line's kind of resembling that. It's coming down. He was minus 200 when I looked on Monday. He's now minus 175. I think I'm going to bet Manal Kape this week. I'm just wanting to see if this line will come down a little bit more. I would love to get like a minus 160, but I'm fine playing minus 175. I just like it a little bit lower. And if this guy comes out here, can't get the takedowns and can't establish like a dominance in the fight, I think that Manal Kape is dangerous throughout the fight and could come out there and just win minutes within the fight and land the harder shots. But if he doesn't do that, it could become a little bit of a close fight. But I just like, I'm seeing minus 230. I hope it's the lines kind of haven't changed recently, but like minus 175, I'm happy with that. I'd just like a little bit lower for that, but my pick's going to be Manal Kape, and he's a guy I'm fairly confident in this week. Andrea Lee against Maycee Barber. This was another potential bet of mine back on Sunday and Monday when I was looking. I thought about laying the kind of wood on Maycee Barber, minus 200, and now it's went to minus like 250. I'm like, nope, I don't want none of that. Possibly could be a decent parlay piece, but I just don't feel kind of confident in putting around with some other people that are like a Cage Warriors card I'm trying to put her with. And but I think this is a kind of passing of the guard, this fight, honestly. I think that she's been in the UFC for 3-4 years now. Elle's there 3 years, 4 years, and she's only 24, coming 25 very soon. So she's going to be coming in and making big improvements and being more just an all-round, really, really good fight in this division. And I don't think she came in with a lot of pomp. She was bigging herself up with being the youngest champ ever and doing this and doing that. And it's really not worked out that way. It never does, not unless your name's John Jones. But I think she's got a tough matchup here. KGB is a very difficult fighter to face. I think she's a good striker. She can grapple. She has submissions, but she kind of takes L's to some of the better girls in the division. I don't want to see that these are like better girls, but Lauren Murphy's been up there, fought for a title. Viviana Araujo is a top 10 girl. Getting your wins over, I think Calvillo's kind of done with the sport, honestly. And Shevchenko can be stopped as well. But this could be one of these fights. She's from the south, from Louisiana. Comes out there with the cowboy hat. She could be a big favourite because of that. But I think Maycee Barber's going to break it. I think she's going to pressure her. Hurt her. I think she's going to mix up a little bit, get some takedowns, rough her against the fence. But like I say, at minus 250, I don't really want any part. But as a pick, I'll pick Maycee Barber. Nate Landwehr against Austin Lingo. I think this fight's a lot closer. Like I said, I've never been the best at reading. Oh my god, I'm at 0-5 against picking Nate Landwehr fights. Goodness gracious me. I didn't even realise that. Like I say, this is the guy I actually really liked watching outside the UFC because he's got a legit record against some absolute killers out there in the regional scene. Your M1s and so on. I mean, these were good wins. He was getting his licks in, was coming back in fights, was winning these fights. I mean, these are legit wins against tough guys. And then since he's come to the UFC, took that L initially to Herbert Burns, but since then I think he's looked really good. Wins over Elkins, Ludovic Klein I think is a good win. David Onama's a good win. He came through as a big underdog in that one there. Took another L obviously against DeRosa, but I do think he is one of these fighters that looks to come out there, put a performance. I don't think you could ever put him back in the apex. Like, thankfully, it looks like we're kind of coming away from the apex part of the UFC, out of the whole COVID situation. It looks like that's going to get close to getting done maybe by this year, getting out and about again. You have to put this guy in front of the crowd because he's just box office. And I think he's got a willing dance partner here in Austin Lingo. And I'm not writing Austin Lingo off, honestly. I think that he was ready to fight a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, Ramos pulled an absolute stunt and came in like 9 pounds bigger. But this is the guy, Fortis MMA. I always respect fighters coming out of that gym. He has been away for a little bit, which is something that, when was his last fight? 2021. So what, a year and a half there or thereabouts. Boyer's coming off 2 wins. Jacob Kilburn, like I've mentioned before, not the greatest win you're ever going to see. Luis Saldana, this is the guy that thought he knocked out Sean Woods and then went to a draw and then was celebrating, jumping on top of the cage. I remember who he is now. I think this fight is a lot closer than what it is. He's like minus 275. Nate Landwehr, he could pull some stunts where he comes out here and he just looks to muck about. Eat some shots that he shouldn't eat, make the fight closer than he should. I think as an overall fight, I think he is a little bit better than Lingo, but he drops his head. I think he's capable for uppercuts, knees, like we've seen in the past. And Lingo does like to throw some uppercuts. I have seen him throw some like that. But I don't know. I think I just pick against Nate Landwehr every single time. I don't think I'm going to do it this time, but watch this be Austin Lingo's kind of coming out party where he lands a big knockout or something in Nate Landwehr and gets himself a big win. I think Nate Landwehr, he's kind of in his pomp now. That was a big win over Onama, a very dangerous guy. Let's see if he can continue on there. Like 3 wins over Klein, Onama, and Lingo. If he, like I say, he's not your high caliber type of athlete, but I still think he's decent. I'll pick Nate Landwehr, but like I say, as you can tell, I can always fade Nate Landwehr. So let's see this go Lingo's way in that one there. Co-main event of the night. I'm picking Holly Holm. I'm not going to talk any more than that. I thought pretty much she got robbed our last time against Caitlin Vera. I thought she won that fight. Yana Santos, a kickboxer, but doesn't really throw any real substance, just kind of really comes forward and throws a lot of shots, but is open to being countered, open to being taken down. I think Holly Holm can time some takedowns if she comes forward, but she's going to be on her bike, just kind of pop shot at distance and probably beating up Yana Santos. She has come back off having a baby as well. Holly Holm's going to be the pick there. And the main event of the night, this is a great fight, by the way. Marlon Chito Vera against Cory Sandhagen as a main event. Number 5 against number 6 in the bantamweight division. I believe. And we've got Chito here coming off 4 wins, 4 big wins. Started off slow against Dominic Cruz, like he does pretty much in all his fights. And then eventually he cooks you as the fight goes on. Rob Font, Frankie Edgar, Davy Grant, took the L to Jose Aldo. But if you've watched the ESPN program that they're talking about, it's like that really like lit a fire under him, that he knew he should have won that fight and didn't do that. But I mean, he's 30 years old. He's been like 10 years in the UFC. He's paid his dues. And this is the guy that is one of the most improved fighters. When you watch him from his debut in the UFC to where he is now, how cerebral he is, his shot selection, his footwork, like just his power in all aspects, and just the dog in him. I think he is one of the most gutsiest fighters we have in the UFC. Doesn't mind losing rounds because he knows that he can break you down and catch you eventually. I don't know what my picks are. I'm guessing my picks aren't great in this one because I've always tried to go against them. 13-7, so not bad, but not great either. Like I say, he's a hard guy to pick against, a hard guy to bet against. And I would love to bet Cory Sandhagen. I think you know where I'm going. I'm going to pick Cory Sandhagen, but honestly, as a pick, like I say, I'm on Sandhagen, but the line keeps going up in this guy, and if he hits anything plus 175, I feel like the line is just like it's went too far. I would be willing to kind of go on Chito Vera there. Like I say, Cory Sandhagen's a guy I've always had a lot of respect for in the UFC. Very, very good fighter, very durable fighter, hard fighter to kind of face. Ever since that Alcantara fight where he looked like his arm was about to get snapped off, he got hurt bad. I mean, his L's are too... This is a horrible L. He should have won that fight, and he knows that, and I think a lot of the people should have as well. I actually thought he was on his way probably to losing that one. I thought that Song Yadong was fighting a really, really close fight, but he busted him up with those elbows straight up the middle. I would like to have seen... I think it was 47-47. I think it was 2 rounds apiece, going into that last round. So that could have been an interesting fight if it did go into round number 5. Peter Yan gave Peter Yan fits early on, but Peter is a little bit of a slow start as well. Then he starts to make his looks at you and then kind of makes his choices and where he's going to go from there. And eventually kind of caught him in, I think it was the 4th round, and that really kind of turned the fight into Yan's favour, and he won that fight there. So how I see this fight going, I think that he can be on his bike. I think he can pot shot a little bit from distance. It's just hard to pick against Marlon Vera. Honestly, the guy has got so much will in him to be the UFC bantamweight champion. It looks like to me like he's on a quest. Like he knows where he's going and where he's meant to be, and it's like he's meant to be the UFC champion. That's kind of how it feels to me right now. And like I said, I'm a little bit surprised that the bet line's going back up to where he's a big underdog again, because I think this fight's a lot closer than what some people are making out. Some people think that Sandhagen's going to absolutely run through this guy, and who runs through Marlon Vera? I've not seen anybody really do that in years. But like I said, I just think that Cory can win more rounds. I think that he's got a decent enough chin that he can take some of the shots. But if Chito lands that big shot like Peter Yan did, that can change the whole entirety of the fight. I mean, Chito's going to come forward and start landing some big shots. He's going to have the fans ruckus when he lands those big shots. So that could play into the judges' hands a little bit. I feel like I should be on this side, but the gut is telling me Cory Sandhagen. So I'm going to go Cory Sandhagen to win a decision, a 5-round decision in that one there. But I don't think I can have money against Chito Vera right now, because he seems to be in an absolute tear, and he's on a quest to become the champion of that division. So I know there's a lot of really good clappers out there on Chito Vera. I wish you all the best. I don't think I'm going to be on the other side unless the line gets bet way down. I don't want to be playing like -160. I'd rather like your -138s, -135s. If I could get that, then I might be on the Sandhagen side, but looks like it's going another way. But Sandhagen's going to be the pick there. So that is everything from me, guys. Half an hour on the dot. I didn't want to be any longer than that. I'll go into the comments, say what's up to the couple of you guys. What's up, my brother? Hope you're well. Robbed against Leave It. Leon was easy money. I wouldn't say easy money, but I did thought he was just a step ahead in that entire fight. I don't like that parlay. I don't like Chidi in a parlay. But that's just me. Kind of low card fight from a gambling perspective. Marcus, hope you're well. San Antonio. Like I said, I'm probably going to be playing a light card this week. I'm going to be probably playing a couple of Cage Warriors plays and a couple of UFC plays. But outside of that, it's a low week and I'm getting ready for UFC 287. So guys, thank you very much. If you can throw a like on the video, it'd be much, much appreciated. Until next time, take care, enjoy the card, and all the very best.